The town of Ebensburg is historically significant for many reasons. In this video, myself, Naveen Sirsikar, and my partner for this project, Devan will discuss the history of Ebensburg and why it is not only a great town to live in currently, but also how its history is very important. Ebensburg was the first permanent settlement built on the Allegheny front. The town was established in November 1796 after congressional leader Reese Lloyd led a small party of about 20 people from Philadelphia to the Ebensburg area. This land was selected by Morgan John Reese of the Cambria Company of the Welsh for his colony to settle there. Lloyd offered the land to the government in exchange for Ebensburg becoming the county seat, which it still remains today. The town was declared the seat in 1805 after it was found to be the geographical center of Cambria County. Many historians believe the town of Ebensburg was named for Lloyd's son, Ebenezer, who dies in infancy. The nearby settlement in Beulah, Pennsylvania, quickly sprouted up as a result just west of Ebensburg, but quickly faded into obscurity. The only thing remains today of that first settlement is the Beulah Cemetery, a short walk up Old Beulah Road, and one can still see the historic grave sites. There were numerous things that attracted the settlers to this area, including the beautiful scenic Allegheny Mountains, the plentiful springs and natural water sources, and the clean, fresh mountain air, just to name a few. The second phase of Ebensburg's development was that of a mountain resort. Ebensburg developed as a mountain resort after word traveled of its scenic beauty and plentiful resources. Large summer cottages started to be built by the wealthy urban settlers who flocked here. In addition, with the influx of people, businesses started to flourish. Some of these included sawmills, tanneries, and numerous farms. With Ebensburg being located in a bituminous coal region, many mines also started up. Many Pittsburgh socialites stayed in Ebensburg as a vacation to get away from the crowded, busy streets of the industrial city of Pittsburgh.
In 1808, the first courthouse and jail were built in Ebensburg. The building was erected on the northeast corner of the present-day courthouse grounds. First constructed of logs, it was also used as a jail. The first story of the structure was the courtroom, and the lower was used to house prisoners. Later in 1828, the second courthouse of Cambria County was built. Construction of this building was finished around 1830 and is its current spot facing Lord Street today. With the increase in its population, Ebensburg began to outgrow its jail as well. A more substantial brick and stone jail was erected between 1828 and 1830 at the southeast corner of Center and Lloyd Streets on land donated by Reese Lloyd. Then, realizing they needed yet more space to house prisoners, more land was purchased at a cost of $2,500. A third, larger and more secure jail was built in 1869. This structure still stands today. It is a landmark in town and essentially bounded on three sides by Center, Crawford, and Sample Streets. Built to resemble a square fortress, the structure was designed by architect Edward Haviland. Although its Gothic look was first debated, the jail, which is made of cut sandstone, is a historical landmark. This building holds much historical value. Several hangings and executions were performed there over the several years, which led many to believe that the jail has a supernatural presence. With such history, the jail was placed on the National Register of Historical Places in 1980. Today, it still remains a topic of discussion, with many local real estate agents expressing interest in remodeling and reopening it for public display.
With the introduction of automobiles and the improvements in transportation, Ebensburg quickly became a point of passage. Another unique quality that attracted people to Ebensburg was the fact that it was situated at a crossroads of roads heading north and south and east and west. It has seen heavy traffic in its history and remains a very busy area still today, with large highways such as routes 422, 22, and 219 all intersecting here. Summer cottages and hotels quickly started to pop up in Ebensburg with the improvements in transportation. One of the first of these was the Penn Eben Hotel. It was named the first exchange hotel when it was built in 1913 by Mr. T.V. Hott. The name was later changed in 1934 when the hotel was sold to Elmer Daly, who made its name the Penn Eben Hotel. Mr. Daly was a very popular man and was well known in the baseball industry because he was the president of the Middle Atlantic Baseball League. His name brought in guests that stayed here, including Cy Young, Lefty Grove, actor Lou Ayres, and even members of the Harlem Globetrotters. Registered guests also included big names such as Andrew Carnegie, William H. Vanderbilt, and Mary Todd Lincoln. According to Mr. Dave Huber, author of the Historic Ebensburg Volume 2, the famous Penn Eben Hotel was a host to salesmen, dignitaries, sports figures, movie stars, and dance bands alike. The hotel was located where what is now the intersection of High Street and Julian Street. There is a marker commemorating the historic spot of the hotel at the Penn Eben Park in the middle of the town.
Another historical landmark in Ebensburg and popular dwelling spot was the Ebensburg Inn. The inn was built by David Park, who was the head of the Crucible Steel Company around 1901. The Ebensburg Inn is located where what is now the Aquinas Hall at our very own Bishop Carroll Catholic High School. This spot is significant to us because we go to Bishop Carroll. The inn was a very popular spot to many tourists due to its location sitting high up on the hill, looking over the beautiful Ebensburg community. Many believe there was no prettier mountain hotel than the Ebensburg Inn, situated as it is in the midst of an immense park and boasting tennis courts, a golf course, shaded porches, and beautiful hotel accommodations, which are on a par with those found in much larger cities.
The Noon Collins Inn was another popular tourist destination in the Ebensburg community. The inn was built in 1834 and began as a federal-style stone mansion for Cambria County Judge Philip Noon and his wife Ellen. On the National Historic Register, the Noon Collins Inn was refurbished in 1905 after Pittsburgh industrialist David Park bought it for $10,000. 2 years later, he converted it to the Ebensburg YMCA. Years later, the property became the site for the Ebensburg Community Center. After that, it served as a high school gym, bowling alley, and weightlifting room, and was saved from fires on 2 separate occasions. In 1960, Noon's daughter bought the property and named it Noon Collins Inn, as she was married to local railroad builder Philip Collins. Today, the inn is owned by Louis and Janet Ripley, who have since restored the building and have made it into a popular bed and breakfast type inn.
Another historic home in Ebensburg is the A.W. Buck House. Built in 1889, this Queen-style Victorian home was originally built as a private residence. The home was then bought by the Roman Catholic Diocese of Altoona Johnstown and converted into a convent for the Sisters of St. Joseph. In 1900, the home was sold to the Cambria County Historical Society and turned into a local history museum. It was added to the National Register of Historical Places in 1995 and remains a popular site for visitors who are interested in learning about the local history of Ebensburg. It is here that we caught up with local historian and president of the Cambria County Historical Society, Dave Huber, talk to us about the historical significance of the Ebensburg community.
Dave Huber is a local celebrity of sorts, serving as a longtime Ebensburg researcher and historian. He has written many books on the town of Ebensburg, including Historic Ebensburg, The Pioneers, 1796 to 1876, Historic Ebensburg Volume 2, and The People of Cambria County. He is also a local painter who has painted scenes of the beautiful surrounding community, including areas such as the Ghost Town Trail. Dave shared his knowledge with us.
Ebensburg became a resort town in the 1870s, 80s, 90s. And my theory is that as people came through in the 1840s, they kind of noticed how nice it was up here on the top of the mountain. And so they went and they made their money in Pittsburgh. But Pittsburgh was a miserable place to live. It was just always smoky and hot, and it was terrible. Up until the 1940s, Pittsburgh was a really nasty place. So I think a lot of those people who could afford, that made money down there and could afford to come find a resort place, came back here.
Another local resident who has a vast knowledge of the Ebensburg community is Zinea Koss. Zinea is the Economic Development Director for the Borough of Ebensburg and the coordinator for its Main Street Partnership. This group is very important to our community because it helps promote and organize local events in our area and helps boost tourism. We are fortunate enough to catch up with Zinea, and she shared with us some of her knowledge about the Ebensburg community. If you don't mind, would you please introduce yourself and tell us how you're involved in the Ebensburg community?
Yes, my name is Zinea Koss. I'm the Community Development Director for Ebensburg Borough and Ebensburg Main Street Partnership. So we work towards promoting everything going on in town. We host a full schedule of events throughout the year to bring people into town, bring former residents back to town, just getting people here, promoting everything happening with the small businesses, actually with all of the businesses, and we just work towards marketing Ebensburg.
You brought up community-wise of now. Do you know why Ebensburg is like so popular with their community from back then, how it incorporates to now?
I think that Ebensburg has a lot to offer. There's a lot of just rich history here with just, you know, it being a former mountain summer, I guess mountain resort town. There's a lot of the former cottages still standing today. A lot of them are businesses now, and even homes that people have just maintained and preserved over the years. It being the county seat, that draws a lot of people into the community. We have our beautiful, 100-year-old courthouse.
Unfortunately, numerous historical buildings and artifacts that tell the story of Ebensburg were destroyed in a fire in 1915. Most of downtown Ebensburg was wiped out by the fire, which broke out in the pool room of the nearby Mountain House. The fire destroyed every building in the block from the Mountain House to the courthouse and ravaged through the Ebensburg community. Although numerous buildings were destroyed, thankfully very little damage was done to the courthouse and many artifacts were salvaged from there. We still preserved and use these artifacts today to tell the story and history of the great town of Ebensburg. The historic town of Ebensburg traces its roots back to a group of young Welsh settlers who migrated to our area looking for a better way of life. They found peace and solace in the sheer beauty of the town, reveling in the crisp, clean air, rolling hills, and abounding natural resources that the town provided. Ironically, these unique qualities are the same qualities that still attract and keep many Ebensburgers here currently. We are proud today to be among this group of settlers and to call Ebensburg our home.
We hope you enjoyed our video and would like to give special thanks to Mr. Dave Huber and Ms. Danae Acost for taking the time out of their busy schedules and educating us about our fantastic town. We thoroughly enjoyed learning about the town of Ebensburg and look forward to exploring what the town of Ebensburg has to offer our community in the future. Please note the sources we used to compile this video are listed at the end of this video. Now get out and explore the beautiful town of Ebensburg. This spot is a special. Jesus. This spot is a special. This spot is a special. This spot is a special. I'm so dumb. This spot is a special. This spot is especially. This spot is especially. Why is this so? This spot is especially significant. This spot is especially significant to us because God damn.